Survivors. So glad to be here with my sister Reg. We are doing a behind the scenes. We love doing this. And so much stuff came up for each of us after last night's show as far as struggles. How you doing today, sis?
Oh man, when you said the struggle is real, I have to say, I didn't have one of those struggling days for myself. And what's interesting is the energy we're connected to everybody. A lot of people shared with me their struggles. A
Mm.
lot of people. So it was, and including, just before we got on here, I was sharing with you that, people are dealing with stuff and they're struggling. And I was like, hey, did you hear the show last night? So it's out there, guys. I don't think we ever don't have day that somehow or another our little ego brain is saying we're struggling with something. So I know you were sharing with me a little bit of your own physical struggle. So I'm excited to see what has come up for you.
So since she put me on blast, I'm gonna go on out there. So I've been changing my relationship with food and getting my body in shape. I just want to be healthy. I have to live to 120 years old, and I want to be able to do that in good health and still be active and being a smart ass and all that other stuff I want to still do at 120 years old. So I'm now just changing how I deal with my health, and it's a lot better. So yesterday I worked out in the fitness center, and today I did Tabata. Tabata is a workout where you do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You do four different exercises in that space. And it was all arms. Yesterday I did weights. Today Tabata did a lot of stuff, but we did resistance bands and all that stuff. So behind the scenes, I was talking to Reg and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have kickboxing tomorrow, but my arms are just like I'm moving in slow motion. And she gave me some great advice about resting my muscles because I wore them out and I broke them down and now they need to repair themselves. So I was struggling with whether to go or not, and no longer struggling. I'm just going to cancel my kickboxing for tomorrow, rest, do something else, probably take a walk like she suggested, and move on and then go to kickboxing the next day. But the other thing is that I want to share with you, I didn't get a chance to. Someone, I got a text from a really important person, great friend, sister, everything. And this morning, she wrote to me, hey, getting out of bed this morning is such a struggle. However, I did it. I got up and I went walking because we're both trying to be healthier. So she had a little struggle of getting out of bed because it was a long weekend, back to work today. So she was struggling to get out of bed, not because her bed is soft and squishy, but it's a struggle. You're tired, you had a long weekend, you went away, whatever. So just to say, everyone is struggling, but she pressed through the struggle. Is my point. And she got up and she did what she knows she's supposed to do and she wants to do. So her desire for better health superseded the struggle that said, stay in bed. You deserve this. Again, it's about your vision and what is it that you want and you see for yourself. Right, sis?
Yeah. I really, I'm very present of when we've been talking before, last night and even now. You often say, and we both believe in this, it's the why. It's
Mhm.
the why. Raquel has a very specific, and I'm talking specific, 120 years old. She's not kidding. Like
Yeah.
she wants to be 120 and healthy, and that is possible. So when we talk about real talk, real, actions, real results, and we say we are talking about pivoting mindset,
Mm.
I wonder, when you guys hear that, 120 years old and healthy, like take a moment and really listen to what your mind is saying. Most people, I'm going to assert, are going to say, she's out of her mind. She's kidding me. You know, she doesn't really mean 120, or there's no way. Like that's the overall experience. But if you really look it up, there are many people who are
Mhm.
living way past the age of 100, and in a way that has them feeling their own experience of health and feeling good about themselves. And so when we're putting out there about what you're struggling with, I just want you guys to know that that struggle is really a mindset.
Mm.
There is something that has happened, and that trigger is there, and it's from the past. And you may not even remember what it is because our mindset, that limiting mindset, is from many past things that have happened. And you'll tell me you've got all the evidence in the world for it. But like Raquel said, her really dear friend was struggling to get out of bed. It's nice to stay comfortable. It's nice to stay warm. It's nice to stay in that bed. And again, when you choose to do that, there's power. When you struggle and decide and start having that beating yourself up and making yourself wrong, or making your boss wrong because they're telling you to get up earlier, and pointing the finger of blame out there, then that's a whole other, and that's where the struggle becomes, right? That's where it really begins head on. So I'm really looking at, like, when I was talking to my dear friend before we get on here, it was struggling, and the action that person took was picking up the phone and speaking to someone who they trust, who can really listen and not judge what they're dealing with. And that happened to be me, just like your friend reached out to you. And then the results are, at the end of a conversation, we got to celebrate. We got to celebrate the real, real reality, which was their commitment and what they're up to, and lit that flame again, that
Mm.
passion of, yeah, this is what I'm out to do in the world. This is what I'm out to do for my life and my health. And why I want that is because I'm out to have that available to everyone. Now, they struggled, and they're still in that struggle, and there's still some unresolved conversations that didn't happen. And that's where the struggle is. So we started just chipping away a little bit. And then what I want to say is, a really dear friend of mine called me and left me a message and said, a little bit. We're not talking about tons and tons of steps at a time. But if you just commit to that 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes for you, maybe even 1 minute for you to chip away. We just chipped away at a conversation, and we picked one action that felt good to that person. Just one. It wasn't go pick up the phone call, go have that, call with that person that you're really, like, not happy with. It was to have the conversation about self, really, where was that coming from, and just having this safe space. And then they were going home
Mm.
to go drink some water and then rest and pick their favorite, thing that they like to do for 30 minutes before they took the next action. So that's a lot that I threw in there, a lot of stuff that we're going to be going over this whole entire month with all of our guests. But that really is something that, I want to hone out to everybody, because I don't want to give the impression, I don't think Raquel and I want to give the impression of, here it is, wrap it up in a bow and go. It's little. When we say action steps, we tend to take huge action steps. We tend to jump and then create the parachute and the whole entire thing at the end. And that's where we are in our life. And there are other things that are little action steps where she's saying, she was looking at tomorrow. So tomorrow she chooses not to do that, and she chooses something else for her body, still to move, but not overuse those muscles, do something else. And she's still staying to her commitment and her why. That's what I wanted to share.
Wow, that's awesome. Can you give us the steps? Your friend did picked up the phone, they found someone in their community that they trust and would be non-judgmental and
Mhm.
listen. So they found someone in their community. What was the next step?
After they left the message, right? And they made a request to say, hey, I'm leaving you this message. If you get a chance, can you give me a call back?
Mhm.
I need that ear. And I did, right? I called back. So called back with I'm here, I'm available. Is this time ready for you? They picked up and they said yes. And I said, what do you need from me? I asked, what do you need from me? And that person said, I need your ear. And then they just allowed that conversation to happen and flow. So much of me wants to interject. So much of me wants to coach. So much of me wants to do that. Just let it flow. Let it flow and allow that person to say what they needed to say. And
Mm.
when it was time, there was that, hey, when I felt that person getting over anxious and over anxiety, I just said, hey, I so want to be here for you. Can we take a moment and take a breath? Right? Like take a breath because they were, right? And we just took a breath. They finished. And then I just asked, like, do you mind if I share something? Because that's the type of relationship that we have. And then we
Mm.
did. And then it was like, just like that next thing of what I shared, what I heard, to make sure that they really were heard. Like I wasn't making up what they were saying, and they, to make sure that they were really gotten right. Like, yes, that's what I'm feeling, great. And then it was, so what was the next step was going home because the person wanted to just kind of like you, gonna go to kickboxing the next day, go to the, go, 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 go. When for someone who does have that expertise, that has a background in fitness, being able to say like, hey, I know this sounds really great, and you can take it with a grain of salt, right? Like you can take it with a grain of salt, but in my opinion and my expertise, X, Y, and Z, your body is saying this dis-ease in your mind and your body. Do you have, the availability to go home and X, Y, and Z? And, and that's what they're up to. And then they have a person at home as well that is very supportive, that is involved. So it's like, it's step by step by step by step. And then said, feel free to text me later. And he said, okay, if I text you later to see if everything's good. And that's how that went.
So it's really interesting. What Reg is saying is there's small, actionable steps. And remember, conversation a couple episodes ago, we talked about sometimes action means just being still, breathing, and working out in your own space. What is it that's in your best interest? And I know something like my health, my fitness, that's on me. Some of you have different struggles. You have struggles with maybe addiction, maybe relationships, maybe whatever it is. You have to decide, or you have to choose and powerfully choose you. And if you don't know how to do that, you can absolutely reach out to someone in your community that you trust, someone who is non judgmental. And if you don't have that, you always have us. And we're here. And as we go through this month of September, speaking about moving from struggling to thriving, we want you to genuinely and authentically just sit and listen. Those limiting beliefs, those thoughts are going to come in your head like, yeah, but you still, and this is your struggle. That's not theirs. Everybody doesn't have the same struggle. Doesn't mean people don't have struggles. We want you to listen genuinely, authentically. I keep saying that. Listen, sit, and be open to receive something that may be able to assist you with your struggle. I want to know that you can do that. I want to know that you are going to commit to you. You are bigger than your struggle. And I know when you're in the midst of it, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like this struggle is just going to overcome me and to smother me. But you are bigger. You get to powerfully choose how you view that struggle. Does that make sense?
Oh my God, it so makes sense. It just has me like powerfully want to be able to say that, listen, we get it. And it's step by step. And there is a huge invitation. If you didn't get a chance to watch last night, we're going to have this invitation. There's an opportunity for you to break through and disrupt that struggle of whatever, because guess what? We all have one, that one
Hmm.
that stays on that hamster wheel. So we are really excited to share about our upcoming webinar. And it is called Disrupting the Same Old. That same old conversation, that same old, communication that you have with yourself, or maybe your partner or your boss or your child. That same old, like, I don't got nobody. I don't have anybody. Yeah, well, I've got some people in my community, but we're out to have that be disrupted and get you in action with your mind, with your words, and in community. Because if you're here, you're part of a community. So we've got a really great early bird registration till the end of September. Super easy. It's riseandthrivetogether.com webinar. I know it says www, but it is on when you're going in, it's like the HTTP
S
double
colon
dots colon slash slash riseandthrivetogether.com.
slash
Yep.
.com/webinar.
But it is on our face, it's on our Instagram. We've got it on our Facebook group, Rise and Thrive Together. And we've got this great early bird special for you guys to come in and join, not just Raquel, not just me, but also Patrick Richwood, who is with us as well from Fear Schmear Coaching. So you get 3 hours in such an affordable price with so much value to disrupt this same old, same old. And we'll be bringing this up with other people who are guests for the rest of the month. We really are asking for you to take a look, just take a look, see if this resonates with you. And if it doesn't, we're making a bigger ask because we know that there are people in your life that you
Mhm.
hear and you're like, oh man, there's that conversation again. There it is again. They're constantly not share it. Just be like, hey, I've got these people I've been listening to, and I love for you to take a look at what they're doing. So I
Absolutely.
wanted to put that out there, and I got it on the bottom of the screen.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we will see you next week with our premier sponsor, Mr. Hal Eisenberg. So excited to hear his conversation from struggling to thriving. Remember, together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.